Good morning.
Okay. Good morning, Can y'all hear me? All right. You want to use a cord? Okay. All right. You are Tamika Washington. All right, everyone. Good morning. Okay, we're gonna start. Okay. My name is Vanessa Fields, and I serve as a Democratic committee woman for the 52nd Ward, 10th Division. Um, I want to thank everyone for coming out to this forum because you could have been anywhere. I mean, it's been cold and rainy for the last couple of weeks, so I'm so glad that you decided to come here and get more information regarding the candidates running for office. This is a historical election, y'all. Thank you. Because I was like, I know this ain't working. Ain't that so much better? so this is so this is a historical election, y'all. We will have the pleasure of voting for our 100th mayor. And so it is so important that you get all the information that you need to make the right decision on who should be our 100th mayor. So, with that in mind, we want to start this off correctly, and we're going to open it with prayer with Reverend Wanda.
Good morning, everyone. As we prepare to pray, let us keep and consider those who have lost their loved ones during this period of time. It has been rough for a lot of us, and rough with COVID and everything else. And we also want to pray and bless the family of Isaiah Thomas, who has had loss this morning. Many of us have had loss, and many of us are struggling in our families. But we also remember that we all believe in the truth of justice. So please bow your heads and close your eyes. I thank you for this day, God. You have given us strength to make it another day to get it right. To whom is given much, much is required. We ask that you are flowing in this room this morning in justice and in peace. We ask that you take care of our children and our loved ones. We ask that you take care of us, God, that you give us traveling mercies today. We ask that you consider us, and Lord, give us strength in all areas of our lives and in our family lives. These are not the happiest of times, God, but the best thing that happens is that we know you are here. God is. So as we go forth in this day, as we all sit here together to make it a very organized and wonderful day, we thank you, Lord, and we let you know that we are discerning and we are looking at each other to get the truth. In all things we pray. Amen.
Good morning. It's my turn right now. I'm Steve Jones. I'm the ward leader in the 52nd Ward. What I want to do right now is introduce our party chairman, Honorable Bob Brady.
Thank you, Stephen. Thank you for having this meeting. And by the way, Stephen, I got a couple of 34th Ward Committee people here. They're here to spy on you. Where you at? I see you here. They're out here spying, right? Making sure you do a good job. But listen, thank you, and thank all you for what you do. And we do have a lot of candidates here, and I really wish you impose upon our endorsed ticket. Kathy Gilmer Richardson, City Council. Thank you, Kathy. Tamika Washington, running for judge. Look at my neighbor. Tamika Lane, my neighbor. Thank you. John Sabatini, Register of Wills. Thank you. Missing any more endorsed candidates? And you also have a great opportunity of having Samantha Williams coming in, Judge. Samantha. Will Braidman running for judge, endorsed candidates. I need to thank you, right? And we got a great slate of candidates that are running for mayor of the city of Philadelphia. Our former city controller, Rebecca Reinhardt. Rebecca. And my dear friend used to be head of the Philadelphia delegation of Harrisburg, majority leader in the city council, my dear friend. Thank you. Looks good in green, don't she? Right? Looks good in green. So thank you all. Again, I just want to here to say hello to you, can greet you, and to say a couple words about your ward leader. Without question, Stephen Jones. Stephen Jones. Where's he at? Somewhere working. Where'd he go? Stephen, I've got my back as always. Oh, excuse me, John Sabatini. I mentioned you? Oh, I mentioned you twice. That's stupid. Anyway, my dear friend for 1,000 years has been supporting me forever when it wasn't popular. And let me tell you something. You can't have a better ward leader, one of the most respected ward leaders in the city of Philadelphia. He's out there fighting for every single one of you. Never, that comes and sees me once a week. Never asked me for anything for himself. He's always asked me for somebody for the community, for his committee people, and any one of you that needs some kind of help, just go to Stephen. Stephen's a great advocate. He's a great advocate for trying to get things done. But again, most of all, thank you for what you do. Without you, there's no me, there's no Rebecca, there's no lady in green, Sherelle Parker. There's no city council people. It's because of you. You, the boots on the ground. You're the soldiers out there every single day. And you're not there one day a year. You're out there every single day. 365, you're committee people. You're dedicated to your community, dedicated to your service. And I pledge to you, whatever I could ever do to you, my door will always be open. Just go through your ward leader like you always do. And he always comes down and sees me and whatever you need for your community. It bothers me to no end on election day, and thank you for what you do 365 days a year, not just one day, when somebody jumps ahead of you on the polls and gets out a ballot, and as Pat can tell you, we fight that all the time in the 34th, and gives out a ballot, and then they're gone. You don't see them no more. But you guys and gals are there worshiping together every 365 days a year. Go take the kids to school, go to the supermarkets, you know your neighbors. And because of you, you got the validity that when somebody comes to you and you go to them and ask them to vote for somebody, they know you're going to be there on Wednesday. These other characters are gone. So again, thank you for what you do. Appreciate every single thing you do 365 days a year. Without you, again, there's no us. Thank you again for your commitment. God bless you. I'm sure you're going to have a good morning. God bless you all. Thanks and take care. Thank you, Stephen.
Thank you, Bob. Bob is my friend. Don't ever let somebody tell you, oh, he's not a friend of Steve Jones. I'm letting you know, he is my friend. He's always there when I need him. No matter what it is, he's there. Okay, so I'm going to turn this meeting over to Vanessa. Vanessa's going to call the first person up, and that is her job. It's not mine to say who the first one is. So, Vanessa.
Okay. Yeah, he's just giving me a great deal of power. So this is how we're doing this morning, y'all. So we're going to first interview the candidates. First, we're going to start with the mayoral candidates, okay? And then we're going to let candidates who we have endorsed, who the 52nd Ward has endorsed, they will then come up and have 2 minutes to give you all more information as to why you should vote for them, okay? Now, when we interview the candidates for mayor, I'm going to ask them 3 questions, and then you all will get to ask 1 question. Just 1 question from the group, not all of y'all asking 1 question, okay? But what you have to do is you have to write those questions down on the 3x5 cards that you were given. Okay. And Wanda will collect those cards from you. We'll pick one of those cards, and that'll be the question from the audience. And then each of the mayoral candidates will have 2 minutes to close. So we're going to start with the first candidate, which is Sherelle Parker. Sherelle, you'll have 2 minutes to make an opening statement. Miss Wanda is going to be the timekeeper with that big bell over there. Yep. Yeah. You're not going to be able to miss that. Okay. So, all right.
Let me start by saying good morning to everyone. As stated, my name is Sherelle Parker. I am a candidate for mayor of the city of Philadelphia, and it's an honor and a privilege to be here with you. I decided to run for mayor when publicly acknowledging that our city was at a crossroads. I said during that time that my lived life experience is closest to the people who are feeling the most pain in our city. And that, along with my level of intergovernmental experience in Harrisburg, here in the city, along with strong relationships and a track record of working with our federal officials, that it made me uniquely qualified to make the tough decisions necessary to bring order back to our city and stop the sense of lawlessness that's been allowed to prevail, along with advocating for an agenda that's developed from the ground up that will put people on a path to self-sufficiency. It is true that I have the audacity to believe that we can bring hope and pride back to our city by making Philadelphia the safest, cleanest, and greenest big city in the nation that will provide access to economic opportunity for all. I haven't just said it, I've operationalized a vision, and that's a tough thing to do in government. And if you give me the honor and privilege of serving as your mayor, we're going to put our city back on track. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So, let's see how we're going to do this. All right. Yes. Okay. Just making sure I don't get sick, y'all. Thank you. All right. So, Candidate Parker, our first question is Philadelphia continues to be the largest, poorest city in America. What is your plan as the mayor to address this problem?
First and foremost, we can't address growing our economy unless we get our own house in order. And that is, we have to address public safety. I introduced a comprehensive neighborhood safety and community policing plan before there was a poll saying public safety was important and before I decided to be a candidate for mayor. We will do that here in the city. We're also going to have access to year-round education for our children. Schools open at 7:30, closing no earlier than 6. I want the building trades in our schools, instructing our kids on how to be the next generation of contractors, building houses, the 30,000 we'll build under a Parker administration, utilizing the over 8,500 properties in our land bank, building our schools. Our children should have access to that opportunity and every industry in the city of Philadelphia. Increasing home ownership, again, putting people on a path to self-sufficiency so we give them the tools to take care of themselves so they don't have to grow up on welfare and public assistance like I did. Nothing is more worthy than pride in the dignity that you get from being able to go out and earn. And that's what we're going to do for all of Philadelphia.
You come back up here, girl. All right. So instead of going back and forth, you just stay here. All right. So recently there was a poll done regarding folk who live in Philly, and it showed a large percentage felt real unsafe in the city because of gun violence. So how would you address that?
When I introduced the comprehensive plan, it talked about support. Well, there are 3 buckets to me in addressing violence in a city. There is prevention, there is intervention, and then there is enforcement. My plan called for us, 1, addressing the behavioral health and mental health challenges, supporting grassroots anti-violence groups like the Little League I grew up in. I'm an Oak Lane Wildcat. I was a cheerleader. I ran track for the Flames. Those kind of organizations are important to keeping our young people engaged at their rec centers and other facilities. Addressing quality of life issues, lighting in neighborhoods, cleaner commercial quarters. And finally, there was community policing. When people were shouting for us to defund the police, I knew that we shouldn't be governing by a slogan because that was different than what I heard from Miss Johnson on the ground in the neighborhood, who said that if the neighborhoods in our community matter, we should see law enforcement walking our streets, riding bikes, not parked in cars on corners, drinking coffee and eating donuts, getting to know the communities that they're sworn to protect and serve, and trying to rebuild trust. And that we could also have community policing along with criminal justice reform. I am Black. I am the mother of a 10-year-old Black boy. We will have the talk with him. There will be no police officer in a Parker administration who thinks that they can go back to the times where you could beat me or my son upside the head with a billy club and think it's okay just because that's the way things are done. We can have both, and that's what we'll do in a Parker administration, along with smarter policing and better forensics.
Thank you. Thank you. So my third question, before I get to a question from the audience, is our schools. That's a long list, from the asbestos in the schools, lack of basic services in schools. There's some schools don't even have librarians or anything. So how would you address the problems with our school system?
By first recognizing that we don't have $10 billion to rebuild every school in the city of Philadelphia right now. I will work in partnership with Vincent Hughes, our chair of the Appropriations Committee in Harrisburg, Jordan Harris, along with ensuring that for the first time in the history of our city, I'm not going to allow anyone to say it's traditional publics versus public charter schools. All of those children are our children. We need to advocate for quality seats, quality instruction in 21st century modern buildings. And the buildings, how about they are built by our young people and people in our city who are unemployed and underemployed in the city. And I'm proud to be supported by the building trades in partnership with them, saying, yes, Sherelle, we should be in the schools training the next generation of contractors. In addition, we won't be focused on arguing about remediating asbestos and lead and mold in schools. While we have to deal with those issues immediately, I'm going to be focused on building, and this is a great time as a result of the Commonwealth Court's decision, where we will finally be able to see not just the formula, because if you were ever served in Harrisburg, you know the formula, you can have whatever formula you decide. It's the amount of dollars that are coming through the formula and ensuring that it is needs-based. And so when I go to Harrisburg or DC in order to advocate for you, I don't need training wheels to find out that it's not just the Department of Education, it's also the Department of Labor. It's a workforce development line. It's an environmental protection line item. And we should be securing funding from every line item. And I can't do it by myself as mayor. I need every leader who represents our city to help us.
Thank you. Thank you for that answer. So this is a question from the audience. And one of the things I noticed looking at the questions from the audience, they all have a similar theme. And they were violence in the city, education, and poverty. So most of these questions dealt with that. But this question is a little different. It says, what personal attributes do you bring that make you the best candidate for elected office? See, that's something you ain't think about.
I didn't. I just want you to know that I've never been a candidate for mayor before. And you have to work with a lot of experts when you decide to run. And when I was getting ready to run, I sat down with them and they wanted me to just talk about the fact that I'm a first-generation college graduate, first-generation Ivy League graduate, Eisenhower Fellow, ACYPL. And they said that's how I needed to introduce myself to the city. I said, but if I just started there and didn't tell you that my mother was a single teenage mother who got pregnant with me at 15, that I was raised by my grandparents, that I grew up on public assistance, welfare. I called it colored money in books, purple 20s, green 10s, brown dollars, free cheese. I mean, I know that because I lived it. So while other people have to read a white paper, about poverty to figure out a way, like I lived it. So I know that dignity is what you need more than anything. So my greatest attribute, I feel, comes from that. My level of authenticity. When it comes time, no matter what neighborhood we're in, the race, the class, the socioeconomic status, the zip code. My message stays the same. I don't pander to people. I tell the truth. If it's a white audience, a black audience, a brown audience, an immigrant audience, business audience, community audience, because it's easier for me to govern and work with people like Leader and Council Member Jones and Gilmore Richardson and Harity when I'm honest about me and when I'm communicating with you. Because if you live a lie and I came up, I know some of you in the audience, and I was introducing myself and I said, "Good morning, my name is Sherelle Parker and I'm a and you would say, "Who in the world is that?" So every solution that you see me proffer, it comes from my lived experience, like safe injection sites for, hey baby, for example, safe injection sites. We have an opioid crisis problem. I've said I'm gonna shut down the open air drug market in Kensington, and we're going to address the opioid crisis, but it's not because of a safe injection site. Why? Because I grew up and saw family members die because of addiction, because I lived during the crack cocaine epidemic and saw it destroy my neighborhood, and nobody talked about a safe smokehouse, a safe crack house. People who are suffering from addiction need long-term treatment, long-term housing, and access to economic opportunity. And so I just want people to be honest about who they are, because that's what I'm going to be. I'm not perfect. I, Sherelle Parker, am not perfect. Life for me ain't been no crystal stair. It's been up and it's been down. But you always know that I'm going to be truthful with you, and I'm going to make every tough decision that we have to, even when people get mad at me. Thank you.
Okay. One last thing, Sherelle. She all fired up, yo. She fired up. She gonna be great. All right. So 2 minutes closing.
Sherelle Parker, I want to do something that nobody like me has ever done before. I'm trying to become the 100th mayor in the city of Philadelphia, first woman and first black woman. But I need you to know I'm not running to be a footnote in somebody else's history book, but I'm running because I'm not afraid, if I have you on my side, to make the tough decisions needed to put our city back on track. And that sense of pride and dignity that we had when we kept things clean and we did the best we could with what little we had, we can bring it back if we have access to economic opportunity. And I'm going to unify this city that way. I watched some different people pit business against community, pit black against white, against, Hispanic, Latino. And that's not what we need. We need someone who can unify people and bring them together. And I'm going to be that mayor, and I'm going to make you proud, and I'm going to make you smile when it comes to your thinking about, I'm a Philadelphian. Thank you all. And I have to go because people are waiting for me at Blue Brook. So I don't want you to think I'm being disrespectful, but I'm trying to meet the demands of a schedule. Thank you so very much.
Thank you so much. No, she's and then after, I think you're going to say a couple of words. You want him to speak now, or you want Rebecca? Okay, cool. You too.
Yeah.
Oh, you got the memo. That's the lavender.
Lavender, yes.
Okay. Tamika comes after Rebecca.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. All right, y'all. That's a Ms. Reinhardt. This is a tough act to follow. I'm just telling you.
Yeah.
What? All right, y'all. So our next candidate for mayor is Rebecca Reinhardt. Rebecca will give a 2-minute opening, and then I'll ask the same 3 questions of you that I just asked of Sherelle. And then you'll have 2-minute closing. There you go.
Good morning. It's wonderful to be here with the 52nd Ward. Thank you, Steve Jones, and for everyone for coming today and giving me this opportunity. My name is Rebecca Reinhardt, and I'm running for mayor because I believe that I am the right person to lead our city forward in this critical moment. I've spent the last 15 years working for the residents of our city, close to a decade for 2 different mayors, and the last 5 as the independently elected city controller. I know the budget inside and out from being the city's budget director. I know the city's operational issues from my work as city controller, and I've managed 1,000 city employees and gotten things done as the chief administrative officer. I can hit the ground running on day one to fix the issues facing our city. Our next mayor needs to have experience and courage. I've shown that courage. I took on a long-term incumbent in 2017 to run for city controller. And actually, the 52nd ward was the only ward to support me. So thank you, thank you. And I won with 58% of the vote. And as city controller, I have led with that courage, auditing the parking authority despite political pressure not to, auditing the police department, taking on tough issues. That's the way that I'll lead as mayor. I'm here before you because I love this city and I want to be the next mayor to lead our city forward, to make it safer, cleaner, and to fix our schools. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. So the first question is regarding poverty in Philly. The same question I asked Sherelle. We continue to be the largest, poorest city in America. What's your plan to get us out of that?
So the way to fix poverty is through opportunity, and we need to create a lot more opportunity in our city. The way that I'll do that is, one, through fixing our education system, because it's very unequal and unfair and not acceptable the way it is right now. Hopefully I'll get a chance to talk more about education. The second thing is, as mayor, I will work to create job pathways from our poorest neighborhoods to good paying jobs. We have growing industries such as the life sciences in our city, but we're not giving people the skills to get those jobs. So what I'll do as mayor is make sure that our schools have strong technical training programs, that as mayor that I'm uplifting really good workforce development programs so that people can get the jobs, so that we have one economy in our city. This is about opportunity and also fixing the inequity in our city. As controller, I did a lot of work around the racial inequities in our city services, and we need to fix it. We've had decades and decades of racist city and national policies, and that's led to the poverty and lack of wealth creation that I think we need to be very purposeful about to grow Black-owned business in our city and to create opportunity and equality. And so that is what I worked on as city controller, and I'll continue to work on as mayor to make our city filled with opportunity, lift people out of poverty, and make sure that our city is thriving. Thank you.
Thank you. So that segues right into the question regarding education, because that is a part of the reason why there's so much poverty. So what is your plan?
So on education, my daughter is in 7th grade in the public school system in Philadelphia. And every child deserves a good education in our city. As mayor, I will have a kid-centered approach to education to improve the number of good seats, whether they be traditional public or charter. Parents need good schools to send their kids to right now. Long-term, I'll work to fix the neighborhood schools by appointing a school board that shares my vision for improvement in the schools and by aligning, matching up city services with our schools. What I mean by that is every school should have a nurse, a social worker, and a therapist. Every school. If a school does not, for some reason, then the city should be matching up its services to provide access. So if a school doesn't have a nurse, the city should be using its own public health department to make sure that that school has access to a nurse. That's what I'll do as mayor. I'll use the experience that I have working under 2 mayoral administrations to break down the silos between the city and the school district and to make our city departments work for the people of our city. We spend over $1 billion a year on behavioral health. We spend over 100 million on public health and homeless services. We need to make sure that these services are getting to the people of our city that most need them and our kids that need them. Thank you.
And my last question is regarding, I don't have my glasses on. Oh, gun violence in the city of Philadelphia.
So the issue of gun violence is devastating. I mean, gun violence is devastating families across our city. As city controller, the controller is the financial watchdog function. But starting in 2019, I leaned into the issue of gun violence across our city because as the levels of violence were increasing in Philadelphia, they were declining in a lot of other places. And as a mom, as a resident of the city, I felt like I had to do everything I could do to address this issue with urgency. So starting in 2019, I reported out on what works in other places. I created a real-time mapping tool so that the urgency was kept on this. And I worked with Councilmember Gautier in West Philadelphia and called on the mayor to treat the issue with more urgency than it had been treated. As mayor, I will take the actions necessary to make our city safe again. First of all, day one, I would open the city's emergency operations center, treating gun violence like the crisis it is in our city. As mayor, what this enables me to do is coordinate not just the police department, but the streets department to fix lighting, the behavioral health department to make sure that there's trauma treatment into the neighborhoods most impacted by the violence. There are 14 zip codes out of about 40 that have the most violence. They should be getting the care and the love as a city that we should be providing. So that means behavioral health trauma treatment. That means parks and rec after school programming. That means library after school and weekend. That's what this emergency operations center will do. And I'll also pull together the district attorney and the police commissioner to get on the same page about illegal guns. The police have doubled the number of arrests for illegal carry over the last 5 years, but the conviction rate has gone down from 65 to 42%. We need to get on the same page, and as mayor, I would pull them both into my office to say, we are not leaving until we have one solution and we are all rowing in the same direction to get these guns off of our streets. I'll also implement the proven strategies, intervention strategies that have been shown to work. Thank you. It's all on my website, but thank you so much. Sorry, I got carried away there. Apologies. It's important.
And so the question from the audience, what personal attributes do you bring that make you the best candidate for elected office? Be mindful of your time. You don't want that bell again. All right.
I'll be mindful. Don't want the bell. Personal attribute. I stand up for what's right, always. And I use my voice for that. It's what led me to run for office in 2017 because I saw government not working for people. I saw as the city's budget director and in other roles that often things were done because of connections, the entrenchment, and that wasn't right. And I said, I have to use my voice, and I did, and I ran for office, and I won. And as city controller, I have used my voice to stand up for what's right. That has meant getting into public fights with Mayor Kenney. Yes, it has. That's okay, because if it's right, I need to use my voice. That has meant that I stood up and called out the inhumane conditions in our prison facilities because it's not right for the inmates or the workers. It's meant that I stood up on gun violence. And that's the way that I'll lead as mayor. I'm gonna fix this city government so that it works for everyone in our city, so that every neighborhood gets good services and safety, and that our schools are fixed for everyone. That's the way that I'm gonna lead. I'm gonna stand up for what's right. I'm gonna fight for what's right, and we can do this. We can do this together. Thank you.
you. So you now have 2 minutes closing, Steve.
And I'll stay in my time. Thank you for having me here today. We have an amazing city in Philadelphia. Our people, our neighborhoods, our arts and culture, our sports teams, even though the Sixers lost, they're still going strong. We have a great city, but we need a leader with courage, a leader with the right experience, and a leader with vision. And I am that leader. I'm the only one running for mayor that has city executive level experience. I've run the city controller's office for the last 5 years, unionized workforce, and gotten things done. The last mayor we had that ran an executive office was Mayor Rendell, who ran the DA's office before becoming mayor. I have the experience to get things done on day one. I have shown the courage to stand up for what's right and to do what's right and to make the hard changes that we'll need to make to move this city in the right direction. And I have a vision. My vision is for a safer Philadelphia, for a cleaner Philadelphia, so that the beauty of our city truly shines through. My vision is for the youth to have opportunity across our city by fixing our schools and creating workforce pipelines into good-paying jobs. And my vision is to have a best-in-class city government that works for the people, that's based on data and transparency. That's the mayor that I'll be for you, for all of you, for all of our city. I hope to gain your support. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you so much. So that ends our piece regarding mayoral candidates. I just want to acknowledge the city council person for the 4th District. If you could just stand, please, sir. Y'all know his name. Thank you. And then our next person to speak. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, we have to. All right. So then the next candidate to speak, who has been endorsed by this ward, is Judge Lane, Tamika Lane. Yep.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everybody. All right, I'm going to try to be right to the point if I can, because I didn't realize it was like Showtime and Apollo up here. I see you going. But my name is Tamika Lane, and I want to say thank you. I would not be a judge here in Philadelphia if it were not for you in the 52nd Ward. When I ran with the 52nd Ward under my name for the Court of Common Pleas in 2013, I was proud to do so. So I want to say thank you for all that you've done every day. Thank you, Steve Jones. Thank you again, City Councilwoman Catherine. Let me tell you, so this woman here, we know that she is up here in a battle for City Council, and she keeps calling me, what can I do to help you? This is the type of woman that Councilman Gilmore Richardson is, and we are blessed to have her here in the 52nd. So thank you so much. Councilman Jones, always holding it down, and his staff. I tell you, I called because I'm a constituent, and y'all are right there. But I want to get to the point and shout out to my mom, of course, who is a committee woman here, Claire Lane. Thanks, Mom. But I'm here to talk about the courts. I'm running for Superior Court, which is a statewide court. And as I crisscross Pennsylvania, trying to hit all 67 of these counties, you guys have always held it down, and I'm grateful. When we look at what's going on in this country, what do we care about? Voting rights. What do we care about? Our personal liberties, our freedoms. We look at what's happening in Texas, Florida, Tennessee, Alabama, Wisconsin, you name the state, something is going on. But let's not be deceived and think it's not happening here in Pennsylvania. And we saw that the United States Supreme Court, they ruled on that Dobbs decision, taking away a woman's rights. And what they say is that we're going to throw it back to the state courts. So state courts matter more than ever. Judges matter more than ever. Judge McCaffrey is running for the Supreme Court. He is talking for us in another ward because we are everywhere. And it is vital that we look who is on this court. We are elected for 10-year terms, and all of these things are coming down the pike. So we have to make sure we pay attention to judges, because a lot of people are like, oh, that's not the sexy race. They're worried about mayor, they're worried about council, which are all important. But everything winds up in the court, and we're elected for 10-year terms, and judges often sit for 20 or 30 years. So let's get it right when we send somebody there. And I was really moved by what Sherelle said, that she's not running to be a footnote. I'm the only person of color running statewide for this seat. And out of 31 judges that sit in our appellate courts. Oh, here comes Dan now. Only 2 are people of color. So I am running to make sure that your voice is heard, our voice is heard from our communities, the people who represent our values. And that's why Dan McCaffrey and I have been crisscrossing all over. Dan and I were, oh, see, here's the bell. So thank you, Judge Tamika Lane. Please vote for me. Dan, it's like showtime with the bell. You got to hurry up. Thank you so much. Let me take that off. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Oh. All right. So the next person to speak is Councilman Jones. Take the other cover. Oh, no. You got to put the cover on.
What do we do?
Put the cover on so you don't catch whatever.
Okay, appreciate you.
His fingernails, they're cute, but they're not practical. There you go.
Ladies and gentlemen of the 52nd Ward, good morning. Come on, you better give me some more energy. I will talk forever. Good morning. There we go. I am home. In 1967, my parents moved to Winfield. The head of the WRA at that time was a lady by the name of Betty Bradley. None of you are old enough or old enough to remember her, but she was the godmother of Winfield. And what she fought for was keeping alcohol out of Winfield, just like my warrior ward leader is doing today. There's not a tree falls in Winfield that Steve Jones doesn't know about and care about. So please give him a round of applause for doing this job. I could not do my job without him. And I want to recognize really quick my 2 colleagues, Jim Harity and Kathy Gilmore Richardson. Nothing happens in city council by yourself. You have to have 9 votes. And I can tell you, even though they are supposed to be freshmen, they don't act like it. They dove headfirst into every issue. They work very hard, whether it's Winfield or Frankfurt. And you can hear them every week passionately fighting for people because they understand that every budget decision that we make in city council, there's a person that either benefits or does not based on that. So during the budget process, if you ain't got nothing to do, please tune in to Channel 64 and watch these warriors fight for you every day. So I'm a Winfield boy. My mama, single parent, was able to buy a house on Peachtree. And I thought I died and went to hog heaven because where I grew up, there was no grass. In Winfield, you had to cut grass. But what I also learned that we had a mixed community. I had Jewish neighbors that taught me cultural diversity. When I went to Bieber, we had colleagues that were friends and some of the funny, you remember Polson's up on 54th Street. I went to school with his son. I want my neighborhood to be welcoming like that. I want to, and Kathy Gilmore burns my phone up to talk about how we can improve Winfield and 54th Street and making sure our young people get a fair shake. She has a school to paycheck pipeline that she's developing. So when you read the paper and don't hear about the things that we're doing, it does not mean that we're not in the trenches fighting for them. And so I have no opposition. I'm running against myself, but I'm also running for them. I'm running to deliver my at-large colleagues because without 9 votes, I can do nothing by myself. So I'm gonna yield the rest of my time or pose for questions if you want, but please remember Jim Harity. Please remember Catherine Gilmore Richardson on election day to go with Curtis Jones Jr. To make a good winning ticket, a good winning team.
Thank you. Thank you. That's it. Thank you so much. That bell just tickles me, y'all. Oh, so I just want to do a shout out for the 52nd Ward, all the committee people in the room from the 52nd Ward. Yay! That's right, y'all. All the committee people, stand up, please, y'all. Stand up, stand up. That's right. Oh, y'all just look marvelous this morning. Thank you so much. Y'all can sit down now, all right? Okay. All right. So the next candidate is for Justice of Supreme Court, Daniel McCaffrey.
So I'm a Philly kid from Germantown, and they told me if I go over 2 minutes, they're going to start ringing the cowbell. So that's going to remind me of the fact that I've been upstate so often, I start hearing cowbells in my sleep. So thank you all for coming out. I'm Judge Dan McCaffrey. I'm going to try and be as brief as I possibly can. As Judge Lane, I just heard her speaking on the way in. I am the endorsed Democrat for Pennsylvania Supreme Court. I'm currently on the Superior Court, and just so you guys understand the difference, the distinction, the Superior Court is the busiest appellate court in the United States of America. We handle about 8,000 appeals a year. There's 14 judges elected statewide. I'm one of them. I was elected with your help, with your support in 2019 to the Superior Court. Before that, I was elected judge in the Philadelphia Court of Common Pleas in 2013, along with my bestie, Judge Tamika Lane. We have a unique opportunity here. And I'm not sure if Tamika touched on this, but I want everybody in the room to understand something. When you're from Philadelphia and you're campaigning around the state, it's not that easy. There's a distinct bias and a distinct prejudice against Philadelphia candidates. And if you don't believe me, I want you all to take a look at the current configuration of the Pennsylvania Supreme Court. There's 7 justices. Literally, we have one of them, one of the 7, from the eastern part of the state. The rest of them are all Western Pennsylvanians. That's how much attention the rest of the state pays to the Supreme Court and these races. I tell everybody, and I'm going to be brief as I can, when you talk about judicial candidates, I really want people to focus on 2 issues, a good heart and a good head. The good head part's pretty simple, and it's pretty easy. It's qualifications. Tamika Lane, highly recommended by the Pennsylvania Bar Association. That's how good she is. Dan McCaffrey, highly recommended by the Pennsylvania Bar Association. We both have the highest recommendation you can get by the Bar Association, but it's more important than that, because when you elect judges, you want to elect judges who share your values, and that's what I mean by the good heart part of what I'm talking about. Judges from Philadelphia who share our values. That's how important this race is. And I'm going to leave you with 2 little thoughts. In 2015, Pennsylvania Democrats saved American democracy. We did it because we elected 3 justices, 3 Democratic justices to the Pennsylvania Supreme Court, and it flipped the power. The first case that came in front of them, does everybody remember what that was? It was the unconstitutional gerrymandering case. Pennsylvania is 50% Democrat, 50% Republicans, yet before 2016, they had 13 Republicans in the House of Representatives and only 5 Democrats. The Pennsylvania Supreme Court, led by those 3 courageous Democrats, literally declared those maps written by the Republican legislature unconstitutional, and within 1 election cycle, we went from 13 Republicans and 5 Democrats to 9 Democrats and 9 Republicans, including 4 new congresswomen in southeastern Pennsylvania. That's what Democrats do on these courts. And again, look no further than last year's decision, and this is why I'm really running. The United States Supreme Court last year struck down Roe versus Wade. Does anybody know what changed in the last 60 years on our Constitution? Nothing. The only thing that changed were the people making those decisions. So if you believe in women's reproductive rights, if you believe in voting rights, if you believe in workers' rights, if you believe that your values should be reflected in our courts, I'm urging each and every one of you to please tell your family, tell your friends, tell your neighbors. You got to get Judge Dan McCaffrey on the Supreme Court, and I need someone that I can count on to take my place, and we can all count on Judge Tamika Lane for the Pennsylvania Superior Court, because I can't think of anybody with a better heart or a better head than Judge Tamika Lane, who's right from here from West Philadelphia. So please, you can make a difference in these judicial races. We're all focused on the mayor. We're all focused on city council. These are the positions that are going to have the most impact on what you do and how you do it. So again, thank you for coming out. I'm Judge Dan McCaffrey. Great seeing everybody.
Thank you so much. All right, so our next group of endorsed candidates are for City Council at large. The first person, now this is the rules, y'all. You each have 2 minutes to explain, why folks should vote for you. 2 minutes. Now y'all done already seen her with that bell. All right, okay. So the first candidate is Catherine Gilmore Richardson.
Greetings and good morning to the 52nd Ward. First, to our ward leader, Steve Jones, and to our leadership and all of our committee people here and everyone assembled. I thank you for this opportunity. I am Catherine Gilmore Richardson, currently serving my first term as a member of Philadelphia City Council. Born and raised here in the Winfield community, have never lived anywhere else, and it's certainly my humble honor and privilege to serve with each and every one of you committee people as a fellow committee person. But I ran in 2019 and I'm running again in 2023 because I really know now that your zip code should not determine your life expectancy or your quality of life here in the city of Philadelphia. And you all know at every turn, my team and I have strived to ensure that we are of service to each and every one of you. After inauguration in January of 2020, 2 months later, we were out of City Hall and learning to legislate virtually, but we did not let that stop us. I want to talk about some of the things that we were able to accomplish quickly. We updated our city's curfew legislation, open community evening resource centers. We created the first apprenticeship guidebook in the history of the city of Philadelphia, helping our young people and those who want to reskill and upskill get into good paying union careers. We have worked to ensure that we help individuals like so many in our community keep their family homes in their family and maintain their generational wealth. We have put $8 million into a fund to help people with tangled titles. We have ensured that we brought $6 million back from the state to the city of Philadelphia so we can continue to provide you with good quality service. And we have done so much more in between that, including our constituent services. So I humbly ask for your support on Tuesday, May 16. You all know me already, but I ask for your support. We need your help. I'm Catherine Gilmore Richardson, 52nd Ward, button number 75. And with my colleagues' 2 minutes, I want to just mention Councilmember Isaiah Thomas, who we all know cares about education, is now our chair of City Council's Committee on Education, really invests in our young people across the city, has done legislation to ensure that we are treated equitably when we deal with law enforcement. So I ask that you also support my colleague Isaiah Thomas, button number 79. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you so much. Give her another hand, y'all. She's been doing some great work. She's been doing some great work in City Council for us. We're going to go out of order a little bit right now. And then our next endorsed candidate is John Sabatino.
Thank you. Yeah, I want to start out by thanking your ward leader, Mr. Jones. This is definitely the house of the Joneses up here, and I really appreciate everything he does. And the reason I appreciate so much what everybody here does is because I happen to also be a ward leader. I've been a ward leader for over 30 years, and I respect the committee people, and I respect the ward leaders. Besides that, I'm John Sabatino. I'm the endorsed candidate for Register of Wills. I'm the only candidate for the Register of Wills that has a legal background in dealing with estates and wills. I went to right out here at the St. Joseph's University, started out there going to night school, was drafted out of there, went to the United States Army, spent 2 years in the United States Army, came out of there, and then went back to school on the GI Bill, finished up my education there. And after that, I worked for a while, and I decided to go to law school. I went to law school at night, again, working during the day, graduated from there, and after that, I opened up my own practice. I've dealt with over 70 estates in my legal practice, so I actually know something about the office. I don't need to go in there and learn about wills or estates. I actually know everything about, not everything, nobody can claim to know everything, but I know a whole lot about that office, and I can run the office properly and deal with the people in the office properly. When I get in there, I intend to make it very welcoming to the communities. I will have an outreach program which will address people just like you and let you know the advantages to having a will and the disadvantages of not having a will. I will have somebody in charge of speaking to each person that comes into the office to explain exactly what they have to do. And I'm going to propose a booklet that will explain the inheritance tax to everyone. I believe anybody that does their own income tax can do their own inheritance tax. Those of you that have more sophisticated estates, of course, you would probably need to seek legal counsel. But I intend to have the office outreaching to every community and helping everybody along the way. There's several aspects of the office that I will change. One of them is dealing with personnel. I know how to deal with personnel. I had a small law firm, which I had legal paralegals, attorneys, what have you. I managed them. And in the Army, I had a squad of 40 men, which I also managed without a problem. Ding, ding. Happy to be here. My number is 47, and I would appreciate whatever support you and your ward leader will give me. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, so our next candidate is Jimmy Harity.
Hello, 52nd Ward. Also like to thank your ward leader, Steve Jones. You guys helped me out in the special election, and I was humbled by the number of votes that we got, and the number of votes that we got out of the 52nd Ward was amazing. You guys are by far one of the highest performing wards in the city, so having your support is very important to me. So thank you very much for everything you do. My name's Jim Harity. I've been in city council for a little bit now, about 4 months. I got elected in 5 months, got elected in the special election in November. Got in there, hit the ground running. I already made 2 bills. One was I amended the domestic partnership bill to also include man and women, so it'll give benefits to people living in a committed relationship that doesn't necessarily want to get married. We had already done it for the LGBT community, but back then they left out man and women, so all I did was amend it to rectify that. Also, I did a pothole bill. Everybody knows about the potholes we have in the city. A lot of them aren't actually potholes. They're construction holes that were done illegally. If they would have did them legally, they would have got a permit. The city actually comes out and fills them in because you have to put concrete first, then the asphalt, otherwise you'll get a sinkhole. So I did a bill to find them, and not only that, their license is suspended until they rectify the situations they already have going. So if we have proved they have 10 holes, they have to fix them before they can actually do any other work. So, and then also I called on the state to let us do our own minimum wage, because I believe that our crime problem is linked to 2 things: our education system and poverty. We'll never get rid of this crime problem until we treat the underlying issue, which is poverty. We need to pay our workers more. We need a fair wage, a family-sustaining wage that you can raise a family on and not have to worry about it. You know, our teachers should not have to have a second job. You know, they should be concentrating on educating our children. So thank you, Jim Harity, button number 70. Appreciate everything you do.
Thank you. Thank you so much. You knocked my card down, man. Okay, I just want to remind the folk who we did not endorse that you will get a chance. So some of y'all are looking a little pissed off right now. So the next candidate is Erin Santamore, and then Ruth. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. Erin Santamore for City Council at Large, number 71. I want to thank the ward leader and the entire 52nd Ward for their support. Right now, this election is about a lot of issues going on in our city, and I think experience matters, and that's what I bring to the table. I have been working for the public for over 15 years as a deputy managing director for the city of Philadelphia, as a national consultant to cities and states across this country, and as a chief of staff in city council. I did that during two crises, first the Great Recession and during COVID. I think it is so important that we have people who aren't just selling you hopes and dreams, but know how to pay for those hopes and dreams, know how to get things done in city government, and make sure that every zip code in the city of Philadelphia has the coverage and the services you deserve. That's what I've spent my career doing. There will be a lot of people out on election day trying to tell you that they can fill potholes with rainbows and lollipops. That's not the job. The job is filling potholes with real materials, with real money, making sure you can drive down them, bike down them, and walk down them safely. I think, there's a lot of questions about what each of us want to do for you. I'm going to be focused on, of course, public safety, but I want to mention substance use and mental illness. My family has been through recovery. It is chaotic, it is hard, and there are barriers every step of the way. I want to make sure we are educating people about signs of problems, where to go for treatment and help, and make sure when you or a loved one is ready for help, those barriers to treatment are gone. I will be an unapologetic advocate for you and your families in City Council, and I hope to have your support. Again, I'm Erin Santamore, number 71. I'll get you some information. I'll stick around if you have any questions, but thank you so much for your time. Take care.
Taking your job for you, sure. Hi, everybody. How are you? Thank you so much for having me. I'm Rue Landau, running for City Council at Large, button number 63. My dad grew up not far from here, 5674, something like that, Overbrook Avenue. And I thank you so much for your work as committee people. I'm a second ward committee person, and I know how hard it is and how much you guys are the pillars of your community, making sure that we can keep democracy in action. I'm a civil rights and housing attorney, a longtime organizer and activist, the former director of the city's civil rights and housing enforcement agencies, a proud parent of a public school student, and a proud member of the LGBTQ community. And I am running for city council because, like you, I love our city. It has so much potential, and we are facing so many challenges right now. I worked to do many things when I was in city government. Well, first of all, as a community legal services lawyer representing thousands of tenant families, keeping them in safe, affordable, and quality housing. When I worked at the civil rights agencies for the city, making sure we had fair chance hiring so people with criminal records could get a chance at a job, or helping to pass wage equity laws. So when you go to apply for a job now, your employer is not allowed to ask you what your wages were at your previous job before setting your wages at your next job. I worked on good cause eviction protections and the Emergency Housing Protection Act. I've got the experience. I've done the job. I can get started on day one. I am super, super privileged to say that not only have been endorsed by the Democratic City Committee, but I am on Team Curtis Jones. I'm also on Team Vincent Hughes. So I am well covered out here. I also have a whole bunch of other endorsements from progressive organizations through lots of unions in the city. I will work on public safety, neighborhood reinvestment, and affordable housing. It's the work I've always done, and the work I will continue to do until we fully fund our schools, fully fund our rec centers and libraries, give kids lots and lots of opportunities, and clean and green our communities, which will start to reduce crime. Thank you so much. Rue Landau, button number 63.
Thank you so much, Rue. All right. So our next group of candidates are for judge. I'm going to go in the order that they are on this card that I have, y'all. Okay. So the first one is Natasha Taylor Smith. For Court of Common, please.
Thank you. So thank you so much for having me here today. For those of you who I haven't met in person, I'm Natasha Taylor Smith. I'm born and raised in Philly, grew up in North Philadelphia, educated in the Philadelphia public school system, and then I came home to go to law school at Temple University. And it was the summer between my second and third year of law school that I said, someday I'm going to want to be a judge. You see, I had an opportunity to represent a woman in a custody case. She was someone who had not always made the right decisions in her life, but she worked really hard to put her life back together. And while this woman was talking about the most intimate and personal details of her life, the judge in the case decided he would take his glasses off his face, close his eyes, and fall asleep. And I said to myself on that day, if I ever had an opportunity to make a difference in the lives of other human beings, I would take it seriously. Philadelphia deserves judges who have real life experience, because it's very difficult to have empathy for somebody if you haven't faced any adversity yourself. We deserve judges who have a wide breadth of legal experience. I started my legal career off at the Philadelphia Public Defender's Office, representing men, women, and children who simply could not afford their own attorneys. I've been practicing for almost 30 years. I've done family law, criminal law, personal injury, landlord-tenant, and I represented small businesses, because those are the areas of the law that intimately affect our everyday lives. And finally, I think it's important that judges have a good disposition. When you walk in a courtroom, you deserve to know that the judge who is listening to your case cares more about you and what's going on in your life than what they're going to have for lunch later on that day. So if you support me for the Court of Common Pleas, what you're going to get is somebody who is going to treat everybody with dignity and respect, irrespective of their race, their gender, or their zip code. I am highly recommended by the Philadelphia Bar Association, endorsed by the Democratic Party. Thank you so much for having me here today. I'm button number 8. I've been telling people, please tell me you can't wait to vote for number 8. Thank you.
All right, the next candidate is Samantha Williams.
Thank you. And good morning, everyone. I am so excited to be here today. As you all know, my name is Samantha Williams, and I'm a child of the 52nd Ward and a child of Winfield. I was raised here right down the street on 57th and Drexel Road. I played with Miss Johnson's grandchildren every day. She could vouch for me, I promise. I went to Winfield Academy, Samuel Gompers, and was blessed to grow up here and engage in politics with mentors like Mr. Steve, Catherine Gilmore Richardson, Morgan Cephas, Vincent Hughes, and Curtis Jones Jr. I'm running for judge of the Court of Common Pleas. I started my career as an assistant district attorney with the Philadelphia District Attorney's Office in the trial division. I then moved on to Philadelphia City Council, where I worked for 7 years writing criminal justice reform laws and policies, including expansions of our Fair Criminal Record Screening Ordinance and our Citizens Police Oversight Commission legislation. I am someone who understands our systems as a whole, someone that you can trust to be fair, and someone you can trust to understand our communities and make the right decisions from the bench. I'm asking for your support. I'm supported by the Democratic Party. I'm supported by the 52nd Ward. I am rated recommended by the Philadelphia Bar Association. My button number is 15, and I'd be honored to have the support of my neighbors in Winfield. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. The next candidate is William Braverman. Thank you.
Hi, thanks for having me, Mr. Jones. Thanks for having us today. My name's Will Braverman, and I've been a public servant my whole career. The first 12 years of my career, I was an assistant and deputy city solicitor, child welfare, labor and employment units, and in the mental health unit. Last 12 years, I've been a union designated attorney fighting for my member employees. All of my work has been employee side. You heard some of the statewide candidates talking about gerrymandering. I volunteered my time and I worked on one of 2 gerrymandering cases that was filed in federal court that helped redraw the Pennsylvania district lines, which helped get Biden elected. I'm very proud of that work that I've done. Social justice is very important to me, equity, dignity, inclusion. I'm a hardworking person. I lost 120 sick days when I left the city law department, never took a sick day. I want to be a hardworking judge. I appreciate your time today. I've also volunteered in your community with Councilmember Gilmore Richardson, cleaning up the block by Strivers, and Councilmember Gilmore Richardson has endorsed me personally, which I greatly appreciate her having done so. My button number is number 17. I don't have a snappy saying for it. It's a beautiful place that you guys have here. I love the candy ball, by the way. I love the individual wrapping. And I appreciate your time today. Thanks for having me. Will Braverman, Court of Common Pleas, button number 17. Have a great day.
Thank you, Will. Next is Tamika.
Hello, everyone. Can you all hear me? My name is Judge Tamika Washington, and I'm running for Court of Common Pleas. Every single day in room 604, I hear from defendants, I hear from victims of crime, I hear from police officers, and I hear from defendants' families. It is not an easy job, but in the event that I find someone guilty or in the event that they plead guilty, they come under my specific jurisdiction. So they not only have to serve their sentence, but they have to abide by conditions that I impose. So I asked them several questions. What were you doing before you were arrested? Were you employed? What kind of job were you doing? Do you have any special skills? And 90% of the time, I get the response, no special skills, 10th grade education. So I make sure to match them up with resources so they don't end up back before me in the same position that they were before. We want defendants to be able to be a productive member of society. Just by way of background, I have 20 years of trial experience. I started out as a city solicitor where I helped children who were neglected and abused, and then I turned right back around and helped parents reunite with their children. I have helped employees, the average person every single day who just wants to work without being discriminated against because of their race, because of their sex, or because of who they love. I need your help in order to continue this job. I just got started, but I am doing great work and I need your help to help keep our streets safe and to make sure that everyone has a fair trial. My name is Washington for Common Pleas. There's a reason why I'm saying my last name. Look for Washington for Common Pleas on or before May 16th. My ballot number is 12. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge. All right, the next person is Wade Albert. I'm so glad you have a button on because I didn't know your name.
Makes it easy. Thank you, 52nd Ward, for having me, and thank you, Mr. Jones, for the invitation. I appreciate that. My name is Wade Albert. I'm running for judge on the Philadelphia Court of Common Pleas. I'm endorsed by the Democratic Party. I'm recommended by the bar. I am a 15-year practicing attorney. I'm a Philadelphian my entire life. I grew up in Northeast Philly, live in Center City now. My father grew up down the street in Overbrook Park here. So I've spent a lot of time here as a kid. So I'm running on really two things: my experience as an attorney and the public service work that I've done over the years. As an attorney, after I graduated Temple Law, I went to clerk for two different judges in the Philadelphia Court of Common Pleas. I was with the court system for over 4 years. What that means is that I worked with those judges on over 150 civil trials, helped them rule on over 1,000 motions, and I'm coming to this election as the candidate who has the most experience behind the bench, even though I'm not a sitting judge, than any other candidate. And I think that makes me stand out. After I finished my clerkship, I went to practice in private practice, and I've been in civil litigation ever since. I'm a gay man, and I was attracted to employment discrimination because that was really one of the next big areas of civil rights at that time when I went to private practice. I started out, I represented initially plaintiffs for 4 years, people who were suing their employers for employment discrimination. I represented people who were defrauded in business transactions trying to get their money back. And then after that, I switched sides to the defense side, continuing to do employment discrimination. A big part of my job is I advise companies not to discriminate against their employees. I advise them to pay fair wages. And in the event that they don't, I say, you got to settle this case. You got to open up your checkbook and you need to pay. That's my experience as an attorney. Talk about my public service. I've done a lot of work for public service, and I would advise you to check out my website. It has some information. But one of the things I'm really proud about is that as an employment discrimination attorney, I know firsthand there are people across the city. It touches every single zip code. It touches every single neighborhood who cannot get jobs because they have arrest records that follow them. And I am proud that I have worked with a group called Unity in the Community, which is an organization in Southwest Philadelphia and North Philly to help expunge criminal records, to give people a second chance. I have, on a pro bono basis, helped hundreds of people prepare and file expungement petitions to give them a second chance. And through that work, the court system actually gave me an award a few years ago called the Pro Bono Publico Award, which is given to only one attorney, law firm, or legal aid organization every year. I'm running because we need judges who understand that what happens in a 20 to 30 minute hearing before them, even though the hearing may be something that's totally normal to the judges, to the attorneys, this deeply impacts the individuals who are in that courtroom as the parties. We need judges who understand that and fully get that the implications of whatever is decided will follow somebody for the rest of their life. And so my name is, I was going to say that I'll close it up saying my name again is Wade Albert, running for judge on the Court of Common Pleas. My button number is 18. I respectfully seek your vote. Thank you.
Thank you. I was wondering where that bell was at. I'm like, I know he went over 2 minutes, y'all. The next candidate is Chesley Lightly.
Hi, everyone. That is the politest bell ringing I've ever heard. That is so nice. My name is Chesley Lightsey. It's like Wesley with a ch, and Lightsey, turn on the light so you can see. It is a tongue twister all the way around. I was a 6th grade teacher, and that is how I taught my students to say my name. So again, my name is Chesley Lightsey. I'm number 19 on the ballot. I am endorsed by the Democratic Party. Thank you very much to your ward leader and all of you for the hard work you are doing for the slate. And I am also highly recommended by the Philadelphia Bar Association. My background is I was a teacher for 7 years. I went to law school right up here at Temple Law when I was 30 years old, so I was a little bit of a late bloomer in the legal field. And then I went to work for the Philadelphia District Attorney's Office, where I've spent most of the past 17 years. I worked for Lynn Abraham, Seth Williams, Kelly Hodge, and Larry Krasner. I did not go to that office, nor did I stay in that office to work for any one of those DAs. I went to work for you, and I want to be a judge for you. I went to the office specifically to specialize in crimes involving children and women as victims of crime, and I did that. I eventually ran the homicide unit, and that was expanded to include all of the non-fatal shootings in the city under my leadership. Over the past several years, I have watched on video every homicide in this city. I have been asked to approve or decline warrants based on whether there was enough evidence to go into someone's home, their car, or to arrest them. That's what judges are ultimately charged with doing. And I believe that my experience gives me a unique perspective on what it is I will be asked to do as your judge. I ask for your support on May 16th. I thank you so much for all the work you all have done. I will close by telling you that I am a Little League baseball coach, so I am used to herding cats, so I know I can run a courtroom. I also serve on the vestry of my church, and I am a community servant, and I want to continue doing that as your judge. Chesley Lightsey, number 19 on the ballot. Thank you very much. Oh, and thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Our next candidate is KU.
Thank you so much. It's so great to be back in the 52nd Ward. Thank you all. My name is KU, and I'm running for a judge in the Philadelphia Court of Common Pleas. I want to tell you about where I came from. I was born in Seoul, Korea, but America is my home. I've lived here since I was 3.5 years old. When I was 10, I found deportation notices for me and my entire family. As a formerly undocumented immigrant, democracy is not something I take for granted, which is why it was such a privilege to serve as the voter protection director for the state party and for the Biden-Harris campaign in 2020. There's truly nothing more important I could have done in that year than to help voters cast a ballot that was actually going to be counted. So after that, currently I'm in my 30th year of practicing law. And during that time, I've come to realize that helping people resolve their conflicts is core to who I am. So now I am working as an arbitrator and mediator. Essentially, I'm a private judge, but I'm a public servant at heart, which is why I'm running for the Court of Common Pleas so I can be a judge for the people. If elected, it would be my privilege to serve as the very first Korean American woman to serve as a state court judge in the history of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, and I'm asking for your help. Please remember to vote for me, KU for judge, on May 16th. My number is 21, but you don't have to remember either my name or my number. Just look for the shortest name on the ballot. Thank you for your help.
Thank you so much, Kay. Next candidate is Damaris. Something's wrong with Damaris Garcia for Common Pleas Court, right?
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, or good morning, rather. It's still morning time. Good morning, everyone. My name is Damaris Garcia, and I am a Democratic endorsed candidate for Judge of the Court of Common Pleas. I thank you all very much for inviting me back to the 52nd. I had the opportunity to speak to some of you a few months ago and let you know why it is that I'm running for Judge of the Court of Common Pleas. So I will tell you that when I graduated law school, when I was 24 in 2003, I immediately began practicing as a trial attorney in Philadelphia in our civil courts in City Hall. Born and raised in Philly. I do not come from a family of lawyers or anything like that. This is something that I wanted to do as a child, and I, with the help of my mom and my stepfather, helped me put a plan together to get to where I am today. After I am practicing in City Hall as a trial attorney, trying cases in front of Philadelphia juries, trying cases in front of Philadelphia judges, I became an expert, I would say, in the rules of evidence and the rules of trial practice and procedure. One of the things that I started realizing as I became an older attorney in my practice is that I'm looking around at our benches and I'm thinking to myself that our benches need to start looking like all of our communities across the city with the diversity. In addition to that, I am experiencing in some instances that we need judges that have trial practice, that have been in a courtroom before they became a judge, that actually tried cases, that know trial practice and that know evidence. One of the things that I want to impress upon you is this. This year, we have to fill 10 seats on the Court of Common Pleas. It's a lot of seats. To me, my personal opinion is that the Court of Common Pleas, that's our trial courts. To me, that's one of the most important courts. That's where you go in and you put your case on. That's where you expect the judge to make a ruling on whether or not evidence is admissible or should be precluded, whether it should be shown to the jury. And then you leave that in the jury's hands. We need competent judges. We need compassionate judges. We need non-biased judges to be able to make those decisions. Otherwise, we have to leave it up to the appeals courts. And if the appeal court finds that there was something wrong, that's where they right the wrong. But what I'm saying to you is that I ask you to please give us consideration. Weigh out the fact that I, along with many of the other Democratic endorsed candidates, at least all of them actually, that are running for judge, have trial experience, have been in courtrooms, have tried cases in front of judges, and we know the rules of evidence. We know trial practice. Weigh that when you select your judges on May 16th or before, if you're doing a mail-in ballot, because of the importance of that factor. I also want to give you a little bit of background about my pro bono experience. I currently sit as the chair of the Pro Bono Initiative at the Democratic City Committee. And I ask you to please reach out to your ward leader if any of your constituents need any help. My button number is number 13, and thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much. So that's it for our endorsed candidates. Thank you all. The next person is City Commissioner Lisa Deely. She'll give a quick discussion regarding the election, and then will be our last three candidates.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. Who's still with me? You with me? How many people here work the polls on Election Day? Raise your hand. Thank you, thank you, thank you. 1 million thank yous. So everybody's a little nervous, right, about the electronic poll books probably, right? What's going to happen? We're going to be able to vote, right? All those buttons, new stuff. So everybody should know that when you go to vote on May 16th, instead of signing your name in a paper poll book, you're going to sign your name on a little iPad, just like you do when you go to the doctor's or Dunkin' Donuts. So for the voter, the change is minimal. But for the people that work the polls, they do have to be trained to learn how to use this new equipment. But don't worry, everything will be fine. You know, we remember back in 2019, the very same election, we were voting for mayor and city council and city commissioner and all that. And we rolled out new voting machines throughout the whole city, and it was a big, big lift. This is really nothing in comparison to that. And we survived that. I'm confident that we'll survive this. I just want everybody to know when you go to vote, it'll be a little different. Instead of signing on a paper poll book, you're going to sign a little iPad. So there's still plenty of time, but not much to get your mail-in ballot. As long as the deadline hasn't expired, it's still plenty of time. So if you want to vote by mail, you have until May the 9th at 5 p.m. to make that application. You can go to vote.phila.gov and apply online. You could also go down to City Hall, room 140, Monday through Friday from 9 to 5. You could apply for your mail-in ballot in person. They will hand it to you. You can vote, and your vote is safe, secure, and you're all done at City Hall. There's a lot of great candidates on the ballot, and there's a lot of reason to vote. We come to these things, I'm really very blessed. I've been to this space for both prayer and for politics. It's a unique experience for me, and I do always love it. And every day, if you've heard me speak, you probably heard me say this before, but I start my day with a short little prayer to Jabez, and I ask the Lord to expand my territory. And I can tell you that in 2015, the Lord just did exactly that the first time I ran for office. I got to meet Steve Jones and Wanda, and it has been a delight, and it's been a privilege to call them friends. I came here in 2015 as somebody that nobody knew, running for a citywide office, and I promised you all then that if you worked for me and you gave me your vote in 2015, I would work for you for 4 years. I come to you all these years later with that very same promise. My name is Lisa Deely. I am running for office. I am running unopposed, so I am basically just coming to say thank you so very much. And I'm happy to answer any questions if anybody has any about the upcoming election or the process or anything like that.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And she is an endorsed candidate for the 52nd Ward also. Our next candidate is Melissa Robbins. Thank you so much, Melissa. Thank you for your patience.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. My name is Melissa Robbins, candidate for City Council at large. I'm a couple of things. I'm a mother, I'm a veteran, I'm a civil rights leader. I'm the person who's on the ground in every community fighting for you. Regardless of what your issue is, I get calls from all over the city. No, I don't have the title, but I do the job. There are 27 people running for City Council at large. 27 people. There's a reason why Philadelphia remains the largest, most poverty-stricken city in the nation. The status quo. You want different? Do something different. Vote different. You want the same? Vote the same. Your city will say the same. There are a lot of barriers and obstacles that are put in front of you each and every day so that you make the same decision. I'm not going to come up here and lie to you. I'm not going to deceive you. I'm not going to manipulate you just to get your vote and walk out that door and you never see me again. I want you to know that I will be in your community. I will come back. I'm fighting for clean, green, state-of-the-art, technologically advanced schools. Why? Because our children deserve them. Cherry Hill, Montgomery, Delaware County, they have them. I'm fighting for pathways to home ownership. Public housing isn't a place for us to come and land and stay. Grandmother, mother, daughter, all in public housing. Where are our opportunities for home ownership? If property taxes pay our schools, then it's a no-brainer. Create more homeowners. The land bank has 8,427 homes. We passed the 1% construction tax, generating $25 million. Why are we not taking that $25 million, investing them in homes and creating more homeowners? Why are we not actually solving our problems in the city? You need visionaries. You need leaders. Some of us are tucked away and they don't let you see us. I'm a person who's here, Word Radio host, also on 6 ABC Inside Story. Why? Because they know I tell the truth, I show up, and I do the work. So if you want to see a real change in the city of Philadelphia on May 16th, everybody here has a choice. I'm an Army veteran. I started serving when I was 19 years old. I asked you for your support on May 16th, Tuesday. You can vote for Melissa Robbins, number 60, and you can see your city change. Thank you.
Our next candidate is Rania Major for Municipal Court Judge.
Good morning. My name's Rania Major, and I'm the only municipal court candidate who has been here today. My ballot number is 25. While I'm not endorsed by a city committee, I am endorsed by the people. I'm the only candidate that has a street name. I'm the one that they call the pit bull. For the last 25 years of my 35 years of practice, I've been at Fifth in Indiana. At one point, 50% of my practice was pro bono. Today, it's between 20 to 30%. And unlike every single one of the endorsed candidates, I have done every single division from landlord-tenant to homicides, and that includes pro bono, with the exception of mass torts. I don't do pro bono and do what I do just because I'm running for judge. I do it because that's who I am since I've been this high. I will continue to do that as a judge. I am impartial, I am fair, and I'm boots on the ground. If I wasn't doing something right, then someone who looks like me wouldn't be at Fifth in Indiana for 25 years. I hear the shots on the ground. I hear the shots in the air. I hear the helicopters at my office every day. I've represented grandmothers whose daughters have been killed and fighting the fathers who've been out of a child's life to get their grandparent, pro bono. I've represented people for DHS cases who've had their children wrongfully taken by city solicitors like one you heard from, pro bono. And I've represented people that have been wrongfully convicted and or accused, including for homicides, pro bono. You can read about me on here. You can read about everything that I've done and all the nonprofits I've helped start. You can read about the food banks that I do on my own. Take a look at my Facebook. Don't look at it just now. Look way back. Every day of my life, I'm boots on the ground. And I may not be endorsed by city committee, but I'm endorsed by God, and that's who I answer to. And that's who I will always answer to. So I'm 25. I'm running on both sides of the fence. I'm on the Republican side. Judges can do that. I'll be around in November. Regardless of what happens on the D side this year, I'll come in as a Republican. I just want to say one thing for Judge Lane and for Judge McCaffrey. They are on the ballot now, but the rest of the state's not like Philly. Vote for them in November. You got to get that vote out in November for the higher courts. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rania. The next candidate is Christopher Gladstone Booth for Council at Large.
Good morning, 52nd Ward. My name is probably the longest name on the ballot, Christopher Gladstone Booth. I am ballot number 78. When you go into the booth, I'm asking you to vote for Booth. The reason why I'm running for city council is because I've done a number of things. I feel my lived experiences qualify, more than qualify me to be your city council at large. No, I am not endorsed. I am by the Democratic Party, but I am endorsed by my motivations and my convictions. And actually, I spent last Sunday here worshiping. The reason why I'm qualified, again, born and raised in Philadelphia, went through the Philadelphia school system, went to Morehouse College where I cultivated my activism, came home and worked 30 years in the federal government as a systems engineer. And then when I retired early to take care of 2 sick parents. I am a TK, my mother was a teacher, and right before she died, I told her I was gonna have to go back to work. And she said, "What are you gonna do?" And I said, "I'm gonna teach school." She said, "Don't do it. It's not like it used to be." And I decided to teach school, and she's probably giving me this stink eye. 1 minute? Okay, she gave me the stink eye. Let me tell you, if you want to see what's going on in your city, teach school. Get up close and personal. I've been teaching school for the last 8 years, and that's the reason why I'm running. We cannot let City Line Avenue determine the difference between our kids getting a quality education or the life expectancy of our kids. Thank you, number 78.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Our next candidate is Judge Brian McLaughlin, and he is endorsed by the ward. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody, for having me. Once again, my name's Judge Brian McLaughlin. I sit in family court. I was appointed by Governor Wolf in July, so I'm sitting for about a year now. And then I'm running in May to do another 10 years with your help. So I sit in dependency division, where I face a challenging and sensitive issue on a daily basis, and that's the welfare of our abused and neglected children. So what I do on a daily basis is try to keep families together. And I'm familiar with all the issues that we're all familiar with that affect families and individuals. Drug usage, homelessness, poverty, crime, mental illness. I deal with those, address them, and then keep those families together. Before I became a judge, I have 25 years of courtroom experience. I was an assistant district attorney when I first started my legal career, so I know what it's like to be a victim of a crime. I've dealt with them for a number of years, for 5.5 years. After I left the DA's office, I did civil work for 2 years, so I know what it's like in City Hall. And in the past 19 years, I had my own law practice where I did adult and juvenile criminal defense, so I know what it's like when somebody gets arrested and how it affects their families. And I've also done dependency work, which is where I sit now. So every parent that comes before me, I've represented them in the past, so I'm familiar with what they go through. And every child that comes before me, I've represented them in the past, so I'm familiar with what they go through as well. I'm a lifelong resident of Philadelphia. I was a committee person myself. I spent a lot of time in city committee doing volunteer work for well over 10 years, and I was also in charge of that too. So I've helped members of this community and throughout the city in terms of pro bono work. I'm the first lawyer for my family. I don't think I'm better than anybody else. I'm blessed to be where I am with a lot of hard work. I got to be a judge. I have a family, happy married. I have 2 kids at home. I have a 3-year-old, soon to be 3-year-old boy and a 7-month-old boy. So every child that comes before me, I try to treat them as if they were my own. So I love my job. I want to do it for another 10 years with your support. Judge Brian McLaughlin, and I'm number 11. Thank you so much.
All right. Our last candidate, y'all, for the day, Carolyn Turner.
Hi, good morning, good afternoon. You may be wondering what this white English woman is doing running for judge. Well, I will tell you. I was born in Europe. I became a nurse. That was my first career. My second career was as a human rights activist. And then we came to the US, to this area, 1998. At that point, my ex-husband left. I had 4 young children. And I went back to school, to UPenn, and then to Temple Law, and became a lawyer. I worked as a single mother, by the way, of 4 kids. I became a public defender for 11 years, fought my cases hard, took as many cases to trial as possible because that was the only place where people saw my clients as human beings. Won 85% of my cases. During that time, I became a citizen, but unfortunately, my oldest son was too old. He was 21. He could not come in. That's it. Caroline, number 9.
I like that. Caroline, number 9. Okay. All right. All right. So thank you, everyone, for coming out and sitting so long. Hold on, y'all. Okay. All right, I've been told to close us out. Y'all, thank you all for coming. Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, almost afternoon. I apologize sincerely for my tardiness running around the city. My name is Donovan West. I'm running for City Council at large. I look forward to serving you if you press button number 68 on May 16th. Thank you so much. I look forward to serving you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. All right, y'all. It's over. Go home, relax, tell your folk to vote. All right, take care. Bye-bye.